Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space. Imagine a world locked in the grip of the Cold War. Two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, are fighting not just for dominance on Earth, but for control over the final frontier. Outer space. It is the spring of 1961. No human has ever left our atmosphere. No one knows if a human mind can handle the terrifying isolation of the cosmos, or if a human body can even survive weightlessness. Enter Yuri Gagarin. He wasn't a towering figure or a man of high nobility. He was the son of a carpenter and a dairy farmer from a small Russian village. Standing at just 5 feet 2 inches, his compact size made him the perfect fit for a tiny experimental steel capsule called Vostok. But what truly set Yuri apart wasn't his height. It was his unbreakable calm, his brilliant mind as a pilot, and a warm, unforgettable smile that could light up a room. April 12th, 1961, Baikonur Cosmodrome. Yuri is strapped into the Vostok 1 capsule, sitting on top of a massive 280-ton intercontinental ballistic missile modified to carry a human. His heart rate is surprisingly steady at 64 beats per minute. The tension in the control room is suffocating. Chief designer Sergei Korolev, the mastermind of the Soviet space program, is trembling with anxiety. Suddenly, the countdown reaches 0. The engines ignite with a deafening, earth-shaking roar. Fire and smoke engulf the launch pad. As the massive rocket begins to lift off, fighting gravity itself, Yuri's voice crackles through the radio. He doesn't offer a formal military salute. Instead, he shouts a single cheerful word, Poyakali, which translates to, "Let's go." The G-force hits him like a physical wall, pinning him to his seat, making it hard to breathe. But the rocket holds together, piercing through the clouds, shedding its booster stages, and climbing higher and higher into the unknown. Then the roaring engines abruptly cut out. Total silence. For the first time in human history, someone experiences zero gravity. Yuri floats slightly against his harness. He looks out of the small porthole window, and what he sees changes humanity forever. Below him is a sight no human eye has ever witnessed. The curve of the Earth glowing in a brilliant, luminous blue against the pitch-black abyss of infinite space. Mesmerized by the view as he orbits the planet at a staggering 17,500 miles per hour, Yuri speaks into his recorder, his voice filled with childlike wonder. The Earth is blue. How wonderful. It is amazing. For 108 minutes, Yuri Gagarin is a solitary traveler in the cosmos, completing one full orbit around the globe. In those moments, there are no borders, no Cold War, and no political divides. There is only a fragile, beautiful home planet. But getting into space was only half the battle. Coming home would nearly cost him his life. During re-entry, as the capsule plunges back into the atmosphere, a critical mechanical failure occurs. The equipment module fails to separate properly from Yuri's cabin, leaving it dangling by a bundle of heavy cables. The spacecraft begins to spin violently out of control. Inside, Yuri is subjected to a brutal 10 Gs of force, enough to cause most pilots to black out. Outside his window, friction turns the atmosphere into a blazing inferno of white-hot plasma, melting the ship's thermal shield. Yet, Yuri remains remarkably calm, tracking his instruments and waiting. Finally, the intense heat burns through the rogue cables. The capsule stabilizes. At 23,000 feet, Yuri ejects from the craft as planned. Deploying his parachute, he drifts down gently into a rural field near the Volga River. The first people to see him are a startled local peasant woman and her granddaughter. Seeing a man walking toward them in a bright orange spacesuit and a white helmet, they begin to run away in fear. Yuri calls out to them, smiling, "Don't be afraid, I am a Soviet citizen like you. I have just come from space." Yuri Gagarin went into orbit as a simple pilot, but he returned as the most famous man on Earth. He became a global icon of peace and human achievement, touring the world and capturing hearts everywhere with that same genuine smile. Tragically, just 7 years later in 1968, Yuri lost his life in a routine jet training crash at the young age of 34. Though his life was cut short, his legacy is immortal. He proved that humanity was not confined to Earth. Yuri Gagarin took our very first step into the stars, opening a door that will remain open forever.